Welcome to the Angel Rewatch, a spoiler-free retrospective podcast on Angel. I'm William.
And I'm Derek, and this is a podcast for Loyalty, originally airing February 25th, 2002, written by Mir Smith. Wesley is extremely stressed about his BS prophecy so much that he's having nightmares of Angel eating Connor and his books filling with ketchup. He's so paranoid that he goes with Angel to Connor's doctor's appointment to ask if there's anything abnormal about Connor. The doctor tells them no, Connor's a perfectly healthy human baby. Yet when the doctor and the guys leave the room, someone comes in and steals Connor's blood work. At the Hyperion, a woman named Aubrey arrives and tells Angel Investigations that her son was turned into a vampire and she was forced to kill him. She wants revenge on the vampire who murdered her son and tells the group that her son died on the pier. Wesley sends Gunn for recon, and he, of course, invites Fred along. Aubrey leaves Angel Investigations and reports to her real boss, Holtz. Holtz's army has grown considerably since we last seen him, and he is busy scoping out the other members of Angel Investigations and their actions. He is also chaining up vampires for some unknown nefarious purpose. This is a whole lot of nothing, though, for Sejan, who shows up and demands results. Holtz dismisses Sejan's concerns out of hand, telling him he can't do anything about it anyway since he's incorporeal. Sejan then whisks himself off and goes to talk to Lila, who already knows everything about him and his vendetta against Angel. She tells Sejan that she can't help him because of Wolfram Heart policy, but writes down if she's interested. Then mere seconds later, she says the hell with it and loudly discusses the plan with Sejan, where anybody can hear. They just need Connor's blood, which Lila has conveniently already stolen. Wesley then goes to talk to some kind of mystical being who inhabits a drive-thru cartoon burger. So Wesley has a serious conversation with an anthropomorphic CGI hamburger. The hamburger tells Wesley that the prophecy is true and there's nothing that Wesley can do to stop it. Wesley himself is also in for some very deep misery and pain soon. The beginning of the prophecy, though, will be heralded by an earthquake, followed by a fire and a rain of blood. Across town, Gunn and Fred worry if their new relationship is making them irresponsible in their work and if they should keep things completely professional during business hours. Well, Fred worries because Wesley told her to worry, and Gunn wants to have it all, the quote-unquote great job and the great girl. The two manage to find the vampire nest they are looking for, but of course it's a trap placed by Holtz and his army. Gunn and Fred are ambushed by the vampires that Holtz is keeping, while Justine and Random Lackey Number 8 film them on camera that has the best video quality ever for a handheld in 2002. Gunn tells Fred to leave, but she comes back just at the right moment to save Gunn. They embrace and kiss and it's all romantic and crap. Aubrey then comes back to Angel Investigation to try to seduce Wesley, but he's almost immediately onto her. Angel does his choky threatening thing and tells Aubrey that Holtz is a good man, and Holtz has every reason to want to hunt Angel. But if Holtz comes after his friend or his son, Angel will kill Holtz and anyone in his way. Sejan and Lila meet up at a bar where Noah notices that Sejan is clearly a demon. Lila tries to get Sejan to open up about why he wants Angel dead, but he avoids the question. Instead, he asks Lila when they're going to start their plan, but Lila tells him it's already started. Wesley tails Aubrey back to Holtz's lair and has a conversation with Holtz. Holtz reveals that he knows about the prophecy and that the father will kill the son, and he agrees. It's not the prophecy he believes in, though. It's that Angelus will rise again, and he thinks Wesley knows it, too. Wesley goes back to Angel's room at the Hyperion where Angel's feeding Connor. Angel asks Wesley what's wrong, but looking at the two of them, Wesley realizes that his paranoia is unfounded. It is ridiculous to think that Angel will kill Connor. So naturally, the big earthquake happens and Angel's apartment catches on fire. Angel grabs Connor and Wesley and gets them out of the room. Safe in the hallway, Angel's head is bleeding onto Connor's blanket. Earthquake, fire, and blood. And that's the end of the episode.
I think the ending was definitely very effective.
Sure, if you believe that the prophecy is real.
See, even on Rewatch, I mean, I know where this story is going, but I thought they did such a good job of putting you in Wesley's headspace.
Mm-hmm. My feeling, I remember obviously how this ends. I don't actually know how we get from point A to point B, or point C, I guess it would be. Yeah. It's painfully obvious to me in this episode, and I'm not saying this from Rewatch, because like I said, I don't remember, but I think Lila's behind this whole thing. And I think they do a good job of making the audience aware that Wesley's on kind of a fool's errand here. That the prophecy really isn't real.
I mean, is it? Because we saw Sajan go to Lila before.
Okay, there's a bunch of misleading crap going on with Sajan and Lila that makes no sense. Nothing in that plot line makes sense.
I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts. I don't remember the specifics exactly. I just remember the broader strokes. So I will be interested to find out the exact what everyone is exactly doing.
I mean, we'll get into Lila and Sajan and feedback, but it's a mess. It's my general opinion on that.
I really liked the opening dream sequence with Wesley. I found it pretty creepy. Mm-hmm. Maybe the effects for the blood, the bleeding book didn't look that great, but
they did not. They were fine.
It worked. It still was pretty horrifying, and I like the deep voice gun.
Mm-hmm.
Running out of time, Wes. I thought that worked.
I mean, that might
well.
be the one time I like gun in this episode, because I don't like gun in this episode.
Well, I think it's interesting to paint negative points onto Gunn's character in a positive way, like just saying that he's a little bit reckless.
Sure.
It doesn't feel. I felt it felt pretty natural.
No, that's not my problem. I just have a whole problem with the Fred and Gunn subplot that Wesley. I really don't think that Wesley is trying to get into her head when he says that we don't have time for romantic relationships with our job. I think Wesley says that because he's hurt because she's with Gunn and he just doesn't want to deal with it. And then he gets into her. The fact that Wesley is able to get into her head so easily when he's not actually trying to, and then there's a line that Gunn has about Wesley trying to steal his girl, that it just feels like Fred just becomes this prize in this game between them. And that's what I don't like.
I haven't gotten to that point yet. I did like the fact that Gunn and Fred had the conversation where they both said that they were both aware of Fred's feelings for her.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So
I don't feel there's a whole lot of tension that there's any sense that they're going to break up so soon as they put them together, and just Wesley gets inside her head so easily, and he's not. And do you think he's trying to when he says that? Because I don't think he is.
No, I don't think he is either. What I do think is interesting is because Fred knows about his feelings for her, that she read it in that way and didn't immediately go, maybe I'm just making him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as ridiculous as Wesley's crush on her, it is kind of insensitive that she knows that he has feelings for her and she goes in to talk about some other woman, even though she's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
That is a little bit. I don't blame Fred in that moment, but seriously.
Yeah,
you could be maybe not right away.
Right. I think it added my sympathy for Wesley in this episode.
Yeah, I do. This is Wesley's best episode in a while, mostly because they don't focus so much on the Fred crush. It is in the background of why he is acting the way he is, but it's more about this prophecy. Right,
and I think they do a good job of him maintaining who he is. Mm-hmm. So he still is kind of douchey and dismissive of people, but also they've been playing up him separating himself from everybody.
Yes.
And the kind of paranoia that's going along with that.
Yeah, like I have not enjoyed how they have made Wesley become isolated. But in this particular episode, leads to a very interesting situation where he is so isolated, and it doesn't really matter that Cordelia's not there. I don't think he would even tell her. So obviously he's not going to tell Angel. And Gunn and Fred might read it as just him being hurt of their relationship, so they're not really going to press the issue. And Cordelia's gone.
Yeah, Cordelia would have pressed the issue.
Yeah,
I think.
But I'm not sure he would have opened. That's the other problem I have in this episode, that they give Angel actually a little bit of growth that he notices that something's going on with Wesley. And Wesley gives these like half answers, and Angel accepts them. And I'm not sure why exactly. It's not like he doesn't care. He does care. He just seems to take these half-baked answers as truth and doesn't bother.
Right. I do like that every time someone's like, "You okay? You're such a good guy." And he's like, "Oh." It's even worse. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, I don't remember Angel doing that.
Yeah, Angel... What is Angel... I forget the specific line where Angel's... Oh, he says, "You're a good friend."
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, all right. But he says... The first time he asks him, he says it's about Connor. And then Angel isn't really concerned about that. And I don't understand what's going on. And then in the last scene, Angel does seem to press it a little bit more. And I guess it's because they're interrupted by the earthquake. But he doesn't really go that deep on it. But I just would have liked the writing to be a little bit stronger, or Wesley to just lie in a more convincing way. That it seems... Because obviously the episode can't tell Angel what's going on, or there is no episode.
Right.
But just make it so it's less obvious that's what you're trying to do. Like, it's nice that Angel comes out of himself a bit to notice that there's something weird going on with Wesley and he should ask about it. But he doesn't go the extra mile to actually find out what it is. Which seems weird that to even bring it up that he notices something.
Well, I thought the episode did a pretty good job of pushing that boundary without going too far. Like, you can't... Obviously, if they actually have a real conversation, then all of this drama just gets pushed away and they solve all their problems. Hooray. But...
Until the earthquake happens.
I'm glad they at least had people noticing and vaguely talking about it, like trying to get him to open up. Like, if they just would have ignored him the entire time, which they have been for most of the season, then that would have been pretty annoying.
Yeah, that would have been terrible.
I think it's funny that the episode, like, every time they push him to open up, then they remark about his loyalty and how good he is and everything else, and he's just sitting there, like, stewing with all of this information that he has, this burden that's on him.
A little heavy-handed.
Maybe, but I still thought it was effective.
I'm sounding more negative about this episode than I actually am, because I really did enjoy the Wesley story. The fact that he doesn't take the prophecy at face value, and he's really, really trying to figure out what's exactly going on.
Right, and he wouldn't anymore, right? Like, he got the first prophecy wrong with...
He's been wrong every time, so... really, he should just stop trusting himself. And no, the tragedy is, to me, that I think there's a bit of dramatic irony here, and I think that's good, because otherwise I would not care about this situation at all. That no matter what Wesley tries to do, we know that this prophecy isn't real, or it's not real in the sense that it means exactly what it says. Because I really do think when Lila says the plan has already started, she is speaking about Wesley.
I mean, that's interesting. We don't see Lila until after the hamburger conversation.
But then the real tipping point is the earthquake happens and she's like ecstatic.
She's smiling, yeah.
Which, again, Lila might be the kind of person who just loves the mayhem of an earthquake, but that has to mean that she is behind this. And
or at least involved somehow.
Yeah. And it could be that there's actually two separate plans. This Connor Blood thing is something different, and she has been working on this prophecy thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's a mess, and we'll dive into it later, but the reason the Wesley thing really worked for me is because of the tragedy of knowing, from what it feels like, that he is not, no matter what he's doing, he is doomed to fail in some way. Because he's being manipulated behind the scenes.
Right. I mean, he is in such a dark place that he literally goes to Holtz.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Which, I enjoyed that scene quite a bit. We might as well talk about it now, because it's really a big part of the scene. That he goes to Holtz. I mean, that is a perfect Wesley scene, because it plays both ends of him, that he is so doubting Angel in himself, but he goes to Holtz to defend Angel, and then he's in such a place that Holtz, with very little effort, is able to manipulate him into believing that Angel's going to kill Connor.
And it was very effective with Holtz. I think you get a great sense of how he's amassed his army.
Mm-hmm. No, this is also a very good episode for Holtz, I think.
Yeah.
Because he's so simplistic in his goals. He's like, I want revenge. It doesn't matter. He has a soul. The monster's going to come out. But he seems like a fully realized character. And I think, is this not the first time we've had it implied or just told that his wife was also raped? She was violated, which is code for rape.
Yeah, I don't know if they've implied it this... I don't think they've actually ever said that.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been implied. Maybe not.
I don't think it was, because I think we would have noticed it.
Yeah.
Because and then he talks about it. It was like the first time he goes back, we just see the daughter. The baby... Right. So he talks about his son and his wife, which he has rarely done.
Right. Yeah, I guess the first time we saw it, when they get invited in, they just bite the wife and daughter, and then you hear the baby crying. So, no, I guess they didn't ever really talk about it. We've just seen that, and then the turned baby, or turned daughter. No, they went into specifics, that were pretty disturbing. Like, the way he describes, he snapped my son's neck like kindling.
Mm-hmm. I also really liked him going over the video footage of Fred and saying and explaining why this little woman is able to kill the vampire, because it's the power of belief and the power of that she is willing to die to save God, and that's what they all need to be willing to do.
Yeah, they need to be true believers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all fanatical. I liked, every time...
They're fanatical without being over the top about it, too.
Right. They have... But it's also, every time someone has talked down about that, they play into Holtz. Mm-hmm. Sajan coming in and be like, y'all are all freaks or whatever, but don't you remember how your wife died and blah, blah, blah. You're giving all of these people that information. They're just going to be more sympathetic for Holtz and believe in his cause even more.
Yeah. They're fanatical, but it is in a completely believable fanaticism. You understand why these people are this way, and it can so easily go the other way where they're just nuts. Right.
It also worked. I mean, we have Angel threatening Aubrey.
So this is my question. If Holtz comes up and is going to kill Angel, does Angel let him do it? Or is it just don't threaten my friends or my son, and then I'll kill you? But if it's just us, then what happens? Because Angel clearly is planning to watch Connor grow up, and he's not making peace with his death. So that was a bit confusing to me. What is he trying to kill Holtz, or if Holtz manages to get his revenge, Angel's going to let him do it?
So I don't think he's going to let him do it. I mean, the conversation earlier when he's talking about Connor growing up.
Well, I guess he doesn't have to actually kill Holtz.
Right.
To stop him on his mission for revenge.
Right.
Because he does think that Holtz is justified in coming after him.
Right. He just doesn't think he's justified in going after his...
And he's not.
...friends or family. And he's not. But it is an interesting dilemma for Angel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this man is going to keep coming.
Yes.
He has no other reason not to. That's his purpose in life right now. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, this is going to end terribly. Because the more that Angel talks about his future with Connor, the more that I am worried that there will be no future with Connor.
Yeah, they're planting all of the right seeds. Uh-huh. Everything so heartbreaking.
I mean, he gets that when he got that hockey jersey. God, that is really just...
It's such a good scene, though.
But it's so sad because, not even talking about Rewatch, there's just this sense that something terrible is going to happen. Not necessarily the prophecy, because as I said, I don't believe in the prophecy, but something is going to happen with this relationship.
They had a wonderful sense of dread, even in their happy moments. Mm-hmm. I love, because you get Wes in that scene from afar, totally in pain mm-hmm. the entire time.
In his brooding chamber.
Exactly. And I loved getting Gunn and Angel just playing around and being really friendly. Like, it feels so natural, like all of these people interacting, they all feel like family now, yes. Which is really great.
What do you make of Angel being a hockey fan?
I don't mind it. It's a weird quirk.
It's a weird quirk but then Angel explains it, and the reason it jumped out at me is if you follow David Boreanaz on Twitter, he is a very big hockey Flyers fan. So I'm thinking that's the reason why Angel likes hockey. But then he explained it, and I'm like, okay. This does seem like a sport that Angel would enjoy. It's inside. And there's punching people. So, okay. Yeah, sure.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. You get to punch people in the face. It's indoors. You don't burst into flames. I mean, that does seem like an Angel sport.
Right. I think I knew about mm-hmm. David Boreanaz's, like, hockey fanaticism.
Yeah. Just don't follow David Boreanaz during hockey season, or that is all your Twitter feed will be.
Aren't their seasons, like, super long anyways? I don't know.
I know nothing of hockey.
Yeah, I'm pretty...
Okay, anyway, we're all...
In any case, I think that line still felt so natural that they played it off really well. And I thought it was just like an interesting thing to just add to the character that still felt natural.
Mm-hmm. I really don't have anything else to talk about this. I won't be in feedback, to be honest. Because this episode, it only really struck me that we have not... I don't think we've seen Wolfram and Hart for 3 episodes. We haven't seen them since the show actually went on break for the new year. The last time when it was airing was the last time we'd seen Lilo Wolfram and Hart was in 2001. It's now
so whenever Angel threatens.
Yeah, that was the last time we saw them.
Yeah. So, which is interesting. So it seemed like they backed off, but maybe there's being more.
Well, they have. Okay, we'll get into it.
Okay.
But the official policy is they have backed off, apparently. And Lila's been doing this on her own.
Right.
There's what I meant by that is it's been a while since we've gotten to the main mythology of what's going on. And we had this whole little... I mean, the last few episodes have been this subplot of romance.
I mean, did you want to talk at all about Gunn and Fred at the pier?
I mean, I don't like this. I didn't enjoy it. If it didn't feel like a replay of what's happened before, it was this fake drama of, is she going to break up with him because Wesley got into her head? And I didn't buy that. And then he tells her to leave, and of course she comes back. I didn't like anything that happened here, really.
I didn't buy that they'd actually break up before they even got going. Mm-hmm. I do like them actually having real conversations about their relationship. Because
I also didn't like that she's like surprised when he calls her his girl. Like, what have you been doing? Like, you don't know you're together?
That felt like a rehashing of a previous scene that they'd had before. Mm-hmm. But I do like them having those conversations, because what would two people that put their lives on the line like this constantly, how would they react once they started developing feelings for each other? Is this a fling? Is this something more?
Sure.
Because those kinds of questions are probably important when your life's on the line.
Yeah. I mean, they're still cute. It's just...
Yeah.
I got the sense that she became... In this episode, she was sort of this... It was less about their relationship and more about this tension between Gunn and Wesley, and Fred is in the middle. And I just didn't appreciate that. Because so far they've really kind of avoided that. Whether I don't really think they are meant to be portraying Wesley as unstable as we've talked about, but I think they have firmly established that there's really no threat there. And now there seems to be some kind of threat, which is just weird, because it implies that Fred doesn't have a choice in who she's with. As if Wesley would have shown interest, that she would have been conflicted about this. Which is not what has been presented so far.
Right. And I think the only thing that was just... The scene that was definitely weird for me with Fred was her like, hey, you should go out with Aubrey. Mm-hmm. But I still appreciate them having serious talks about the relationship and whether it's worth it or... And by the end of the conversation, them actually just continuing forward. As long as they're building with that relationship. I mean, I'm glad that they're still talking about it. It just like didn't just happen, and now they're a couple. Mm-hmm. Like there's still conversations that can be had, and ways that they can explore that relationship. I did like having Reckless Gun and all those implications. Like, it felt natural for what we've seen with the character, that he would kind of act impulsively. I did want to see... I kind of wanted to see the scene with Angel Investigations together about, we got ambushed at the carnival. Mm-hmm. Because as much as Wes is a douche, he might have had a point about, like, talking with Gunn about not being so reckless.
I mean, that could... No, I guess it couldn't happen in the next episode, because I think Wesley's going to be even more withdrawn now.
Yeah.
But I don't think you get... I did think it was a nice moment when Aubrey tries to seduce Wesley, and slowly Wesley becomes more menacing, and then it's just revealed that they know what's up.
Yeah.
And that would have... If Gunn and Fred had come back and said, we got ambushed, I think that is an important step. I mean, obviously it's an important step to figuring out that Aubrey is lying to them.
Right. So they got informed off camera?
Well, yeah, because Wesley starts talking to her about that they took care of it. And she says they got the vampires, and Wesley says, I never said it was more than one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think you wouldn't have that moment, and I did think that was an important turn or cool moment in the episode. But yeah,
but it was like very threatening for Wesley, and then Angel showed up, and I was like, oh, okay, he can be the threatening one. Good.
I mean, they can both do the threatening. I mean, it really. When I said that Wesley has become Angel, I only actually made that realization when we were actually talking, but now it is painfully, it's even more obvious to me that he has literally become Angel.
Right. Like, even the way that, like, people describe him, he's a good, like, he's a good man. Mm-hmm. He always fights to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, there are tons of things where you could just, that's exactly who Angel is.
Yeah, it's a big...
Which is cool, and in the way that he defends him in the cult scene, mm-hmm.
That they've become... It's nice that they've become parallels of each other, or not even really parallels, because he is besides being undead, there's really no difference.
Yeah, it's just his brooding comes from a lack of self-worth.
I think that's where Angel's brooding comes from. The lack of self-worth. It's really only that one is human and one is a vampire at this point.
I don't know how I would have felt if, like, we would have gotten more threatening Wes in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somehow Angels can get away with choking people.
Oh, well, yeah, because Angel's been choking people since day one.
Right. So if we would have seen Wes choking people, we would have been like, whoa!
Yeah. Which is weird, because it's really no different.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
And I really like...
But if Wesley chokes somebody down the line, I'm not saying that that's out of character at this point.
That scene still works really well. Like, the Aubrey thing, like, we thought she was just a really good actress. She goes back and reports on the thing. But in that last scene, she still plays up losing her son.
Yeah, when you find out that that's why she wasn't lying about her son being dead, was a really good moment.
I thought she did a really good job throughout the episode.
Yeah. I liked her more than Justine.
Yeah, that's true.
Who is still the face of this army, and I still don't care about.
Well, we haven't really seen, like, we haven't gotten to know her any more than the first episode that we've seen her.
But there's an implication that we should know more about her, and I don't.
Which is sad because, like, the first, like, Aubrey did such a good job in just this episode, and we know more about her than we do with Justine. We've seen Justine in, 3?
I don't think we know more about Aubrey than we do about Justine. I think we know the exact same amount. It's just that Aubrey, like, if Aubrey, there's no real sense that we're going to see Aubrey again, besides being in the background.
Yeah,
Justine is a more important character than Aubrey. She just has the same amount of development, so therefore it seems like Justine is less developed than Aubrey, when in actuality they have the same amount.
Yeah, I guess it stems from the performance.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, that too. I think Aubrey is a better actress than Justine, who's not bad. She's not great though.
What we've been asked from Justine.
Yeah,
like she's tough, doesn't show emotion.
Who does that sound like? Oh wait, Kate. she's still
even
just Kate
had a breakdown.
Yeah, she's still Kate. And that she's a placeholder, and it's obvious now. Even not knowing that she was supposed to be Kate, she is Kate. And there's no kind of... They're not interested in Justine.
Right. I mean, I don't mind. I like Justine talking to Holt about, what about the soul?
Mm-hmm.
Or what about Angelus? He's evil.
Mm-hmm. There's an interesting character there with her relationship with Holt and how she kind of the worshipping. It is the thing that we get with Justine that's important is that we see how these people see Holtz, which is how he wanted them to see them as some kind of messiah figure.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's fine.
And I mean, it was interesting with Earthquake, them landing on top of each other. So maybe there's
that was weird.
It was weird, but there's more stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we can move on from that.
Because I was seeing a father-daughter relationship, and then they're breathing heavily in each other's faces. All right. So we can move on to feedback now. Yeah. And first up, we had Robin, who said, "Why does Lila write that note like Wolfram Hart can hear her every word, and then verbally go along with Sajan's plan?" And that's all. And this is where we're going to talk about it, because it's a mess. Everything about that subplot is confusing to me, and not in a way that I think is intentional. I think it's in a mess way, not like, ooh, what are they planning?
Right, well, the Sajan storyline...
I mean, Sajan, so far, has been a failure of a character to me.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't been involved with Holt since... how long ago? And so I think he kind of got lost in the mixture.
Well, I didn't like him when he was with Holtz. I think he was a delivery to get us Holtz, and he's not interesting to me. Even the mystery of why he wants Angel dead is lessening for me in my interest level the more that it gets dragged out, I'd rather just tell us why, because I feel like it's going to be an unsatisfying explanation anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Considering that he spans all time. Here's the other thing. He spans all time, but he's impatient with Holtz's methods, why doesn't he just go into the future and find out who killed Angel? And if it's Holtz, then why are you worried about how long it's taking? Because you don't exist in a linear time. So why is he so impatient? I think he waited 300. He doesn't exist in this. He doesn't exist on this plane.
Well, I think it's interesting if you go with the Lila and Sajan at the bar.
Mm-hmm. How is it?
Where she talks about you fear something.
Sure.
And so maybe that can play up into his I need to get this done because he's afraid.
But he doesn't. Why is he on a deadline if he doesn't exist in our time? And they make a point of joking about it when he shows up to Lila that he's late, but he doesn't. You would think if I blah 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 mystical crap, I would be on time, but I'm never on time. Oh, I'm Sajan. I'm quirky and weird.
Right.
And well, go on.
Well, mostly I like. I'm with you for most of the part. Like Sajan's felt a little lost. The storyline just isn't quite working. I did like his interactions with Holtz, both as a way of redrumming up sympathy for Holtz and Holtz turning on him. Like that relationship has already been like the fact that Holtz is now completely divorced from him and has some mystical way to deal with him is interesting.
Oh, he has a mystical way. I thought it's just that you can't really do anything about this anyway, since you can't touch me, so leave, I'm done with you.
Well, he says that, and then that's whenever Sajan's like, well, do you remember about your family, blah, 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 and goes into details, and he's like, get out. He's like, or you'll do what? And he's like, well, I can trap your essence in an urn.
Oh, well, yeah.
And you live forever, because then you might just die in there and rot away.
I didn't think that was introducing any new information, because that's how we met Sajan. Oh, no, that's not true. Never mind. You're wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I always...
You thought it was a genie in a bottle or something?
Well, I actually thought that's what Sajan is. And I was just assuming that they had told us that Sajan is a djinn or something.
Yeah.
Which I guess they haven't actually told us. I was just remembering on... That might be a spoiler that I just blurted out, but yeah.
I actually don't know if that is.
Well, that was always my reading of Sajan, that he was some kind of djinn, and that's why he was able to do all these things, but not actually interact with anything.
Huh.
But I could just be pulling that out of my bum.
Okay. But I don't mind the Lila Sajan in the bar scene.
The office scene makes no sense.
Yeah, the office scene makes no sense. Well, does Wolferman? I guess Wolferman Hart would be the company that listens to all of their employees.
Well, yeah, I think we've established that before.
Right.
I think we've seen them seen them going over. I mean, what Lindsay, my favorite character, told Angel that they're watching him with HD cameras at one point, I believe, when he was in the office. But I guess they got rid of the HD cameras for the much more reliable sound thing, but that they don't even really care about, because Lila just comes clean with the fact that she wants Angel dead, which is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Especially since they have another scene with them. It's not like they needed to do it all in this one scene, that they didn't have like some kind of another set, or it wasn't in the budget. Like they have this bar, and you can easily write, I mean, not maybe easily, but you can write a scene where they kind of talk in circles and then make a plan to meet up at the bar and then really talk about it. But then they go for the much more lazy thing where she acts like she can't talk about it and then just proceeds to talk about it openly. Which is so...
Yeah, it was a little bizarre.
It's not a little bizarre. It's very bizarre that she says, oh, I can't talk about this. Wait, let's talk about it right now.
Okay, I forget the exact...
She says
I can't talk about it.
Well, no, well, she says she goes on like the official policy that we cannot do anything about.
How else can I help you?
Mm-hmm,
right?
Yeah, and then she writes, I'm in, and then Sajan starts talking about the plan and that they need Connor's blind. She's like, well, good thing I already have that. Like, well, let's do it. As if she had not just written that we can't really talk about this because people are listening to us.
Right.
So weird. Which maybe, far-fetched, but maybe that there really is no plan. I mean, maybe there is really no official policy and that Lila's not going behind someone's back here. Which I doubt.
Yeah.
Because that's not... Speaking of about Lila, the one thing we didn't talk about, and I don't think anybody actually brings it up in feedback, so we might as well talk about while we're on the subject of Lila. What did you make of her talking to her mother?
I think it was supposed to be like drumming up sympathy, and then it was like...
I don't know.
But I think it was like a play on that.
Yeah.
I think it was like, oh, yeah, Lila has this... mother that she
but they didn't make it
about,
they didn't make it as much as a play as they could have. Like, they kind of played that straight. It's not like she gets off the phone and is like, ugh, this bitch, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, I mean,
she does seem to be somehow genuine with her mother, and she is kind of sad, which I don't think. Like, Lila, I can still buy that she has... We haven't seen her care about anyone.
Right.
But I think she still is capable of that because she has a soul, so that may be the purpose of it. It's not like everything she does is for her sick, demented mother, but that she can actually care about people.
I mean, I'm actually unsure what we're supposed to be reading with Lila in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I read it more as just them playing on that and just being like, I gotta call you back. Like, her being more Lila-esque, even with this serious moment. I'm not sure.
I think it's supposed to be that she can... It's establishing that she's
still human?
Yeah, she's still human. Like, they don't really try to say, oh, this is so terrible, she has a sick mother, but I think it is supposed to be that she does have some feelings, because Lila does seem actually upset when she's talking to her mother, and her mother doesn't really know who she is, or she can't come visit her.
Yeah. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And
as long as they don't go that everything she does is for this sick mother, in the same way that they kind of made it so Lindsay justified everything he does because he used to be poor.
Right.
That's a line I don't want to go down.
I'd rather them keep her vague enough that like this can be part of her character.
Yeah, she can
but
be
not
human,
her driving force.
Which was the problem, as we've talked about multiple times with Lindsay, that I don't know what Lindsay's driving force was.
Right.
Like I'm fine with her driving force being that she's just out for herself and whatever she can do to get to the top.
Right. But it is...
But she can still have...
wrinkle.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. So next up we have Joseph, who says, it's really hard to view this episode in a spoiler-free way. Trying for a moment to pretend that I haven't seen the whole series, I thought this was very effective. One thing I like about Wesley is that he's so broken, but he tries so hard to do the right thing all the time. This has a ton of Wesley moments, including, Wes is a douche to people even in his own dreams. Every single person could tell that there's something wrong with Wes, including Holt's mole, and they all try to help, including Holt's mole. But he tries to take all that burden on himself. Wes shows that he has more insane commitment than anyone in Holt's crew, and at least matches Holt in a scary, whispery voice competition. I loved Wes laughing with Angel. And oh, that burger scene. People who have missed out on Angel have missed one of the all-time greatest moments in television history. A couple more comments. I said a few episodes ago that Holtz was a dark mirror of a watcher, but this episode really shows that he's a true mirror for Wes. There's really not much difference between the two. Not sure how I feel about Gunn this episode. Wes's "I want to make sure Fred is protected" speech was douchey, but maybe deserved. If Wes knew that Gunn was this reckless, walking into a likely vampire nest with an unknown number of vampires is really staggeringly risky. As much as I'm skeptical of Wes's prophecies, this show sold me. The Loa and this final scene were very effective. So, thank you, Joseph.
Yep.
A lot to dive in on this. I do like a lot of the points he brought up.
Well, I still think that Wesley, maybe he's both, really, but I didn't get so much the parallels between him and Holtz, besides menacing whispers.
And commitment.
And commitment.
Well, I mean, he's picked up on the Watcher.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Right, and Wes was a Watcher.
Mm-hmm. Not a very good one.
Not a very good one. It is weird to have the Justine Holtz relationship.
Yeah,
did feel very mentor-mentee, Watcher,
now it's
Slayer thing, and now it feels
weird.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, disturbing.
Which it could be both.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. I mean, Holtz is a fanatic. What else did you want to talk about?
We need to talk about the Loa scene.
Other people will bring it up, but yes, we can talk about the Loa scene. And okay, so here's the thing. I actually don't know who is playing the Loa. It sounds like Keith David. It's a Keith David sort of voice, which is, if you don't know who that is, it's a voice actor that does menacing, strong characters. But the Loa scene plays with the audio very sinister. And then when I actually gift it, the animations of the Loa are so goofy and weird that it plays in a completely different way when you can't actually hear the Loa speaking. Because the Loa is very kind of floaty and bendy and weird.
Right.
And very cartoony. And it looks completely ridiculous without the sound.
It was, yeah.
And it's already pretty ridiculous with the sound, but in a way that works.
It's so ridiculous. They have Wes even commenting on how ridiculous it is.
Which is good.
Yet all of the information is really important and threatening. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he's still moving really bendily.
Talking to a hamburger.
Yeah. It plays on both sides of it, which is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's equally hysterical and threatening, and I do like it.
No, I did like it. It was just funny to me when I actually went back and looked at it without the audio, how it just plays as a complete comedy scene, which in the show, it's actually surprisingly threatening.
Right.
So yeah. I do think, as much as I think he's being played, I think the Loa scene in the moment did kind of convince me that maybe he's not. Maybe this prophecy is real. In the same way it does for Wesley.
Right. And I love that scene in the way it shows about Wes that he is so desperate to find the right answers that he was even like, yeah, you can kill me. I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like playing up into his paranoia. He's in this spiral, and everything that keeps happening keeps playing up into that, so that he keeps going further and further down.
Yeah.
Which I thought they did very effectively.
Is there anything else in Joseph's comment you want to talk about?
That we haven't really discussed. I will talk more about the West laughing with Angel later.
Okay. All right. So next up we had Alicia, who said, "The good. Angel giving that woman baby advice was cute. Angel excited. He's Mr. Dad. Check me out. I'm Mr. Dad. Angel memorizing Cordelia's credit card number is weird. The little hockey sticks in Connor jersey are so cute. I know Wesley said Fred picked Gunn, but does he have to be such an ass about it? Lila, my company rocks. Wesley saying, if this doesn't work, I'm going to kill that wizard. You try chatting with a cranky hamburger. Earthquake, We Live in California. Wesley being badass when he went into Holt's evil guy posse and posse hangout. Bad. This is just not a good episode without Cordelia or Lauren. So thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, they didn't have Lauren, which was interesting.
It didn't. I mean, it's good that they're both not there for what happens. Because I don't. The same way that you tell Angel what's going on, if Cordelia or Lauren are there, I think Wes's paranoia becomes pretty much someone talks him out of it. Because either one way, obviously Lauren's going to sense that there's something going on. And Cordelia just would have let it go.
Right.
It is weird that they don't come up with even a really flimsy excuse for why Lauren's not there, because he's living in the Hyperion. Like, he doesn't interact with Wesley at all.
Right.
In these few days where he's, like, on high alert. Or even I don't understand how he wouldn't, like, if he's on the third floor or whatever and Wesley's in the lobby and he wouldn't be able to sleep because of the amount of paranoia going on.
Well, I mean,
Wesley has to be.
How far-reaching is Lauren?
Well, that's true. That was a joke, but
okay.
If you want to be technical, they haven't actually told us. But I could buy that Wesley is so paranoid that it's emanating off him for several stories. Yeah.
It is weird that they probably needed I didn't miss Lauren in this episode.
I did when we go into the Angel's room, because that's where we've seen Lauren for so many episodes.
Yeah.
It was weird not, like, even mentioning where he was. And then I started thinking about, well, if he was here, then Wesley is a completely different place, or is being forced to be in a completely different place.
Right. Like, they put Wesley in a really interesting position, and the only way you get to that position is without those characters there.
Yeah.
I actually even did like Wes doing the babysitting duty or whatever. Mm-hmm. Even though he was just creepily staring at the baby.
Yeah. What do you make of the, we didn't really talk about the doctor scene, which was another Angel as a dorky dad.
I liked it. I like painting Angel as a father with, like, the real emotions of what a father would be going through.
Yeah, that he's nervous about something that's just a cough.
Yeah, or a gas or whatever. It's interesting that he's like,
okay,
he's just a human baby.
Yeah. Well, okay.
But I mean,
supposedly he's a human baby, but Sajan says they're not looking for the right things, which again makes no sense to me. But maybe he's not.
Yeah.
Because they make a point of saying, "Oh, he's a perfectly human baby," which has to be setting up that he's not a perfectly human baby. There's something weird about Connor.
Right. I mean, they play into the supernatural element with Sajan saying they're not looking at the right stuff. But, I mean, there should be, because he was born from two vampires.
He wasn't even born. His mother just died staking herself. And he popped into existence, really. So, yeah. There has to be something weird about him.
Right. But I don't mind them having... I like having Angel just be a dad, and it be very plain, kind of regular existence without this supernatural crap going on.
Yeah. Is it weird? Okay, so that woman, that was a African American woman, and she had a white baby. Did she not? And that was weird to me. In the beginning, who calls him Mr. Dad? She has darker skin, and she had a white baby, which she can adopt it, whatever. It was just weird to me that they couldn't have I'm thinking those are the three Connors in that scene that they used for Connor, and they just sent them out between those three women to just be there. I have to think those are the three Connors.
You turned into the Swedish Chef.
I do. I always turn into the Swedish Chef, but I screw up.
No, I think you're right. I did not notice that. It's a really good catch.
Well, I noticed it because her baby wasn't the same skin color as her, and that just stood out to me. And then I'm thinking, well, these are the 3 Connors.
Yeah, they have 3 Connors that they use, so they distributed them out amongst the 3 women, or the 2 women and Angel and Wes.
The 3 women.
Angel's kind of a diva, right?
Well, no, we've already talked about that Angel's a diva. Even talking about we'll get into the Wesley scene later.
All right. So, anything else?
No.
What did you think about Angel memorizing Cordelia's credit card?
Weird. That is weird. And
something stalkery.
Well, it's stalkery. It's weird. He's stealing the money that he just gave her. She apparently doesn't have that much money, but Angel feels that she has enough that he could just take her credit card number.
I don't. How much money did he end up spending?
He probably didn't spend that much money, but I just think it's weird that he just memorizes it and then that's how he online shop. It's like explaining something that I really don't need to be explained. Like, Angel can just shop online and you don't really need to go into depth about how that's possible.
Right.
I mean, we've been anal nitpicking about things before, but us are not going to be that anal about things, I don't think.
Right. Right. So next up we have Kathleen, who says, loved Angel and Gunn having a bit of fun playing hockey. Angel talking about watching Connor grow up. Way to twist the knife in our backs, knowing the prophecy Wes has translated. Wes' decision to isolate himself from the gang with the knowledge of the prophecy felt like it was in character for him. Wes turning to Holt after visiting the Loa was an interesting move. I wonder, had Cordy been around, would he have told her about the translation? The scene with Wes and a cranky hamburger was hilarious. The show manages to do something incredibly funny with a very serious scene, with Wes needing to know if Angel will really kill Connor. Loved Lila back and forth chats with Sajan. I'm interested to find out why he wants Angel dead. Gunn ignoring Wesley's orders and rushing into the ambush with Fred seemed like something he would have done in Season 1. Looked like the prophecy might be coming true. Oh, Angel, don't joke about snacking on Connor. So thank you, Kathleen.
Mm-hmm. What is he? Is that what he is joking about? Because I am legitimately confused about what's going on.
I think that is what he's joking about. Because there's no other thing that he could actually really be talking about.
Okay, that's just weird.
Was there any blood in?
I mean,
in
we do see him oddly drinking a lot of blood around Connor. It's odd because I can't remember the last time we actually saw Angel drink blood.
Right.
But I don't think he actually has a glass. The first time he asked Wesley what's wrong, he's drinking blood. I don't think in that second scene he has blood in his hand.
Which second scene?
Before the big earthquake.
Yeah, I don't think he does either.
So it can't be. He's washing dishes when that happens.
No, he's making.
Oh, yeah.
The formula.
Oh, yeah, he's making the formula. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, one, it was really effective, but that is really dark thing to joke about, Angel.
I don't think that's completely out of Angel's character to joke about that. But
maybe not.
He has no idea what's going on with Wesley that he would never make that joke, but I don't think if he's just Angel being kind of awkward trying to be funny, he might make that joke.
Right.
That is a kind of awkward Angel. Doesn't really understand humor, but still does it. Or he doesn't. Everyone doesn't find the same things funny that he does. He's done that before where he's made a joke that's been pretty dark and people don't find it funny.
Right. I mean, it was a really good way to end the episode, I think. Like that.
It's sort of effective, sort of annoying to me. But I don't disagree that it's...
Is the annoying because of Rewatch?
It's annoying
or because of TV?
It's annoying because I don't think that there's any kind of... I don't think that Angel is going to kill Connor. That's why it's annoying to me.
Yeah.
That it's very manipulative and misleading what's about to happen. that he's like, oh, no, I'm evil now because there's an earthquake and my head is bleeding.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually think. I think he's making a joke that's in poor taste.
No, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, but it's played up like he's not making a joke, that he's the first... This is the first step. Yeah, this is the first step of him going to Calcutta. At least in Wesley's mind at that moment, that's what Wesley is thinking.
And it worked. I think it works in that sense, like seeing it through Wes's eyes, which they did a good job of making you see through his perspective, I think, in this episode. It does ring like a manipulative, like you said, like a TV convention, but I still thought it worked. So
okay. All right. Next up, we have Kathleen on Cutlet, who said, if I can pull it up, here we go. Strange episode. It felt like each act was a separate storyline and they went through them quickly, but the episode still managed to drag along slowly. I like Gru's ability to join straight into the team as another champion, even though he's more socially awkward than Angel, which is not a surprise since he's come from another dimension. Loved Angel's reaction to seeing Gru looking exactly like him, and Cordy asking him to help her have sex. Angel giving Cordy the money to go on vacation with Gru seemed like the right move for him. Cordy's been oblivious to his feelings so far, but I don't think Angel would have been able to hide it seeing the pair together, so thank you, Kathleen. I would agree. And I'm not sure if that's why Angel actually sends her away. I think it's good from a show perspective that he sends her away.
Yeah.
It would be even harder, and it's pretty hard now, too, by the Cordelia's oblivious to Angel's feelings for her.
Yeah, it has been. It's been very difficult. I've been keep getting all of the scenes that you just have to go, like, come on!
Yeah.
You've got to know what's going on. I'm still disturbed at Gru looking exactly like Angel.
Well, I think that's supposed to be subconscious, how she actually feels. Yeah,
and Cordy still being, like, purring about the Gru slug.
Well, sure. You're never going to get purring. Anyway. But, yeah.
She literally purrs.
Well, I know she literally purrs. I'm just saying, you can't take that back.
Yeah. So
it's going to be weird.
I'm wondering how much... it'll be interesting when she gets back where their relationship's at.
Or what the hell is going on.
Exactly.
Because things are getting real serious real quick, and she is not there.
Yeah. Well, and there's no... none of the rest of the gang... I don't know, I guess... Like, if Holtz's army is amassing... don't you think you should give her a call? Or
yeah, but they don't think it's not amassing, really. He just has... he has all these people, and they're coming towards him, but... Sure, they probably should give her a call, but...
Well, I guess Wes has all of the information.
Yeah, Wes knows exactly how many people are there. I don't think he's ever going to tell anybody that he went to Holtz's lair, because they're going to ask why you go to Holtz's lair, and then everything's going to come out.
Yeah.
All anyone else knows is that they're trying to get information on them, and I think that's a pretty preliminary recon sort of thing, that they don't... It's not necessary that Cordy comes back right away.
Right.
If they do get a sign that Cordy needs to come back right away and they don't do it, then that's going to become a problem.
Yeah. Couplet, we talked about how the pacing felt really weird, like they rushed through all the storylines, but it still felt so slow. Mm-hmm. It was, it was okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can talk about favorite moment and scores of this episode.
Okay. So for my favorite moment, I went with Wesley and Angel's scene at the end with the bedroom, with them talking about how life is funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was so great at giving you the hope back that Wes has gotten through this.
We did get through it. And then the earthquake happens and he goes right back to where he was.
And I love getting Angel's perspective on being a father.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of love he shares the fear being terrible and beautiful.
So what do you make of Angel saying that he thought love was something consuming, and now he has a different perspective on it because of what he feels for Connor? Because
I like it. It's more mature. It's kind of like him growing into his 20s
when he's 300 sub or what, 250.
Right. He's grown up from the crazy dramatic love that he had with Buffy.
Because obviously he's talking about Buffy there.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Darla in some ways. Even though he didn't actually love her.
But the kind of, when they were together as vampires, the kind of all-consuming fire.
Well, that's definitely what she kind of felt for Angelus in her weird, twisted way. Even though it wasn't love, it was this obsession with him. So, I really do like that Connor... I like all along what Connor has been able to do for Angel and force him to grow up. And this is just another example of that he finds out that love isn't something to be scared of. Or even that when it makes you scared, that's not a problem.
Right. It's so selfless. I really do.
And talking about Cordelia, I think it does set things up for whatever their kind of relationship is going. If there is a relationship, what it would be. Because it can't be like what he had with Buffy.
Right. But and it's just, it still keeps Angel's focus where it should be as being a father. And I love the two of them actually connecting and bonding, and him showing concern for Wesley. These two seem like genuine friends. I mean, and they should. It's season 3, he's been around for so long that they should have this kind of connection where that they can actually go and open up to each other, even though Angel's so repressed.
Well, they're both so repressed at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Wesley has been just as repressed as Angel all along. He doesn't talk about his past. He doesn't talk about anything. The one thing that Wesley does that Angel doesn't is Wesley has always been perceptive about other people, where he is not with himself.
Right.
So it's nice to sort of be at this point on the flip side, where Angel's trying to get him to open up. Yeah. And it's not another scene where Angel's talking about his feelings. That's how it starts. And then it becomes about Wesley opening up about life and how he feels about it now, watching the two of them together.
Right. And I really love that moment. I think Wesley does just a great job acting there. The way he laughs, but it's like this releasing of tension.
Yeah, he laughs.
I felt so moved in that moment.
Well, he laughs, and it's like he realizes what he's been doing has just been a mistake. Yeah. And then
you get that ripped away
right away. But then because then they drive home that he's actually not right from that Lila smiling when the earthquake's happening. That has to be why. If it is revealed that Lila is not behind this prophecy in some way, I will be shocked.
I'm still uncertain, but it seems that would be like a tip of the hat, having Lila smiling.
Or she just really, really likes earthquakes.
Or screaming people.
Or screaming people and her stuff. Well, I mean, the one thing that's suspicious is her stuff falls down, and I don't think Lila's too happy about her stuff being destroyed.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't need Wesley repeating
the
earthquake, fire,
blood.
If he just looks at Angel like, oh crap, it's so much more effective.
It is so much more effective, but I'll be honest, I wasn't listening to Lilo when he said what the portents would be. So.
I guess that's true.
So I kind of needed that in a way, but again, it is really heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's a little nitpick. The rest of that moment is just so perfect to me.
Okay. I mean, as I have said really kind of before that my favorite moment was Holtz and Wesley meeting for the first time, and I kind of just talked about it in the main discussion, so I don't really feel the need to rehash it unless there's something you want to say.
Well, what I do like about that is that Holtz is still putting he's putting Wes to the fire, because he's literally also going, it's going to be a bloodbath. The rest, like, he's putting the threat on everybody, not just Angel. Like, he is going to go for Angel, and anyone who gets caught in the way is going to get caught in the crossfires. So that the threat of that puts Wesley even more in his downward spiral. Like, he has to protect everyone now.
Mm-hmm. Which he doesn't have to actually protect everyone, but that's what he's going to do with this information.
Right.
Which, again, he's just become Angel. That he's taking all this burden for himself when he doesn't actually need to. Ironically, what Wesley just told him in the last episode.
Yeah. I do like him mirroring all of the people kind of around him. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to pick up on the commitment side with Holtz, like the I'll do whatever it takes, and like the good natures with Angel and the brooding with Angel, he's becoming he's becoming really interesting. Like, he's
always
very
been interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
He's just more interesting when he's not brooding about this manufactured crush that he has on this girl that he barely knows.
Yes, that's true. Because it doesn't feel forced.
Yes, because this feels it feels kind of the next step from when he was a rogue demon hunter, and he wasn't actually. And when he was a rogue demon hunter, he was playing at being isolated and mysterious, and now that he's actually become that.
Right. And I think it's very interesting that we had Birthday, where we saw a darker Wesley.
Mm-hmm. Without his arm, which was just tucked inside his jacket.
Yeah, but his demeanor in that episode, and like how he comes into the Holtz meeting and punches that guy's throat, and is super threatening and has his little quippy line. So this is someone he could reasonably turn into. I think it is.
Hope they don't rip off his arm.
Well, if they do, they better have some better effects than.
It's not effects. It's just that they just did it. It was the costuming. They didn't put him in something baggy enough that it was obvious that his arm was on his chest. Okay.
So
Scores.
I
ended up giving this a 63.
Okay.
Because I thought it was good, but it was okay. It was good, and it was whatever. It just wasn't good enough to me to call it a good episode. It was an okay episode.
I actually really enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty good. I want to go higher, but it feels like a part one.
Well, yeah, that's probably why I gave it a 63 too.
But it still, I mean, that last moment was so great for me that I'm going to give this a 71 out of 100.
Oh, well then. All right.
And if you'd like to leave us some feedback, you can do so by commenting on the post at theangelrewatch.wordpress.com.
Or you can send an email to angelrewatch@gmail.com.
Or you can call our voicemail number at 206-203-3276.
Or you can go to Tumblr, which is angelrewatch.tumblr.com, to see all the reviews archived there and the gifts of whatever our episode we're watching that week.
We're available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. While you're there, leave us a review. It really helps promote the show. You can follow me on Twitter at NerdGuyWilliam.
You can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at TheConforador.
And next time, we'll be reviewing Sleep Tight, where to save Connor's life, Wesley does something drastic.
Dun, dun, dun.